Hey there, how's it going everybody? Dan here with plantabundance.com. Just want to share with you guys a quick DIY project I just finished up here at the house. This is an indoor LED grow light stand. Now I'll be primarily using this to get my seedlings going early in the season. That way come spring I'll have some nice variety of plant starts to just plug out in the garden. Now before doing this build I did my research online and I found a wealth of information from a fellow YouTuber by the name of Al over at Albo Pepper. And I'll put a link to his channel as well as the video that inspired me to use these particular LED bulbs. And also he came up with a basic design concept on how to build a grow light stand, and I rolled with that. So this is what I came up with, and I just wanted to share with you guys how I put this together. Now, as with all the DIY projects I do here on this channel, I just want to encourage anybody who's looking to do something similar to go ahead and try to use repurposed and reclaimed items in your projects whenever possible. That's going to help save you on costs and also keep these items from hitting the landfill. That was the case here with these boards I was able to harvest from some old cabinetry that a gal was throwing away. I then took those boards, cleaned them of their nails, and marked them at 30 inches. Now I chose 30 inches because that's the width of the shelving unit that I'm using for this particular project. And once I got my cuts done, you can see I was left with some nice reusable material here. Now you can always use in place of this some store-bought 2x4s. I then made my marks where I'm going to make the holes where the bulbs are going to fit in. So first I went 15 inches on center, and then again 6.5 inches in on either side. Now I chose those dimensions based upon the way that the light blends together and the distance it's going to be from the plants. There's a 3-step process to making the holes that the bulbs are going to fit into in these boards. So you start off with an 1.25 inch hole saw, and you see I got it taped off at 1/4 inch. That's because I'm not going to go completely through the board with this first cut, but rather just go down 1/4 inch down. And as soon as I get to that tape mark, I pull back, and then I switch over to a 1-inch hole saw. And using that same pilot hole, I then go right directly into the center of that first cut. And I don't want to go all the way through, and I'll tell you why in a moment. But as soon as I feel that bit come through the back side, I'll flip over the board, and then again hit that pilot hole and complete my cut on the back side. Now what that allows me to do is to easily remove the wood plug out of the 1-inch hole saw. Otherwise it can get stuck in there and it can become a real pain and take a long time in between cuts. From there I then switch to this tapered bit. Now this is something I picked up at a garage sale, but you can get these online or at your local hardware store. And this is a great tool to have on hand for all sorts of projects. But this did a great job not only busting out that residual wood from the 1.25 inch cut, but then gave me a nice taper. And then I just used my chisel tool to then just clean it up a bit. It doesn't have to be perfect by any means, but you can see here what I was left with. I've got just slightly larger than 1-inch diameter hole on the back, and then I've got that tapered hole on the front. And I'll show you how that all comes into play here in a moment. So here are the bulbs, the packaging they came in, and here is the SKU number if you want to search that out. And again, I'll put a link below this video directly to this LED bulb on Amazon if you're interested in checking it out. You can see it was packaged well. And I ordered a bunch of these. I got 12. Was able to get all this together finally. You can see it's a beautiful bulb. Like I said, 3 different spectrums of light, 2 different spectrums of red, and then also a blue spectrum. And the bulb itself says it's a 24 watt, but it's actually only drawing 14.8 watts according to the listing on Amazon. But when I've got the entire system hooked up, and I'll flash to that here so you can see what I'm talking about, it's actually drawing 223 watts divided by 12 comes to about 18.5 watts per bulb. So you can see here these threads will fit into any standard light socket. And then at the base of those threads is this tapered base. That's why we made the cuts the way we did. That should just slide right in and be nice and snug, as you can see. And then unique to my design, I picked up these socket to outlet adapters. These are cheap and convenient, and I'll show you how this all goes together. These adapters are 1.25 inch in diameter, and that's why it's important that that hole on the back side is only about 1.1 inch at most. That way everything fits together nice and snug. You can see this is everything put together now. So now I went ahead and put together the shelving unit. Now I purchased this shelf off Amazon. It was under 50 bucks delivered to the house. I couldn't pass it up. I was considering either building something out of wood or PVC. But this particular shelving unit just snaps right together, and the shelves are easily adjustable, so I chose to go with this. And I've got the first tier of lights set up. Now I want to show you how I go about doing that. These are the items you're going to need. You got some 3-way plugs. I've also got these slide-on connectors. These are great. You're going to want a dozen of both the male and the female if you're trying to build something similar to mine. And these are going to allow you to make custom extension cords using a little bit of lamp cord. This is 18 gauge lamp cord. And then of course we got the cup hooks to hang each set of lights on. And then we got some number 3 chain here. Basically what I did is I just took some bolt cutters and I cut this chain to the desired length for each tier of lights and hooked it up accordingly. That was easy enough to do. I cut the chain in such a manner so that the first link is going to work as a hook and hook right onto the wire rack. And you can see that just snaps right on and ready to go. And after you've got each tier set up, you're going to go ahead and make your extension cords now custom fit. And you can see how easy this is now to connect. With these slide-on connectors, you literally just push that lamp cord right into its spot, and then you slide on the closing connector onto the back side of each plug. And so I'm going to start with the female connector. That way I can plug into the back of the base of each light bulb, and then I can measure out how much cord I'm going to need before I make my cut and add the male end to it. So these are just going to snap right onto the back of the light bulb bases. And then I'm just going to mark how much cord I want. I gave myself about an extra 6 inches from the bottom of the rack on every cord, and that seemed to work out just perfectly. And once you got it cut, it's just the same thing. These slide-on connectors make quick work. Now you could of course buy pre-made extension cords and you don't have to go through this trouble, but I found this to be more cost effective and just gave a really clean look. And I had a lot of these materials on hand from previous projects that I've done, so I was also able to utilize those, and that's why I chose to do this the way I did. Now these 3-way connectors will allow you to have each tier on its own 3-way, making it easy for you to take off one section of light if you need to do that. So this is everything now hooked up. The last step now is going to be I want to utilize that top tier on my shelving unit. And the way I'm going to do that is by using these ceiling hooks, and I'm going to hang that last set of lights directly from the ceiling and use the appropriate amount of chain to bring that down, again with about a 12-inch airspace between the light source and where the plant growth is going to begin. This was simple enough. As you can see behind me, I've positioned this grow unit in front of a window. This is again a great point that Albo Pepper put out there, and that's this is really kind of meant to be more of a supplemental lighting configuration. You want to try to utilize any natural daylight that you can. And then you just want to use these LED bulbs as a way to supplement the light and make sure that you're getting maximum growth potential. So here's a final view of the completed setup. I want to thank you for sticking around the entire duration of the video, and stay tuned for part 2 where I get to growing on this new system. I look forward to sharing with you all the progression of those plants and how everything pans out. And as always, I hope you're out in the world having a great day. And if you haven't yet, I'd encourage you to subscribe to the channel. There's plenty more content coming down the pike, and I look forward to connecting with you all in the near future. Thanks again, take care, and I'll be talking to you again soon.